In the small, quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, a house stood at the end of a sleepy street, surrounded by whispering trees and fields that stretched into the horizon. The Moore family lived in that house, a family like any other, with a father, Josiah, who worked hard to provide for his wife Sarah and their 4 children, Herman, Mary, Arthur, and Paul. They were well loved in the community, known for their kindness and warmth. But the house, which once echoed with the sounds of laughter and life, would soon become a place of unimaginable horror. It was a warm summer evening on June 9, 1912, when the Moore family returned home from a church event. The children were tired, their heads nodding as they climbed the stairs to their rooms. That night, 2 young girls, Ina and Lena Stillinger, were staying over, friends of the Moore children, excited to spend the night together. As the house settled into the peaceful rhythm of sleep, an intruder moved silently through the darkness. He had been hiding in the attic, a place filled with dust and shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The man carried an axe, its blade heavy and gleaming faintly in the sliver of moonlight that crept through the small attic window. The clock struck midnight, the town was hushed, and the man descended the stairs, his footsteps silent, deliberate. He moved with an eerie calm, as if guided by a malevolent force, knowing exactly where each member of the family lay sleeping. He entered the master bedroom first. Josiah and Sarah lay unaware of the horror approaching. With a swift, brutal swing, the axe came down on Josiah's head, splitting his skull in one horrifying blow. Sarah awoke only to see a shadow before the axe silenced her forever. The man methodically continued, his blows sure and unrelenting. He covered their faces with bedclothes, as if to hide the atrocity he had committed. Next, he went to the children's rooms. Herman, Mary, Arthur, and Paul, all innocent, all asleep, met the same fate. The axe fell again and again, each strike more dreadful than the last. He moved with a chilling precision, ensuring no one would survive the night. He then turned to the room where Ina and Lena slept, ending their young lives with the same cold efficiency. As the house grew silent once more, the man went through the home, covering every mirror, extinguishing every sign of life. He left the axe, smeared with the blood of an entire family, on the floor. Then, as quietly as he had arrived, he vanished into the night. The town of Villisca was shattered by the discovery the next morning. The once welcoming home had become a tomb, soaked in grief and terror. The case went unsolved, leaving the townspeople in fear, whispers of a curse spreading through the community. But something far more sinister than the unsolved crime lingered in the house on the corner of the street. It started with small things, creaks in the floorboards, doors that would open and close on their own, cold drafts that seemed to come from nowhere. But soon, the house's malevolence became impossible to ignore. Visitors to the home would hear the faint sounds of children's laughter echoing through the empty rooms, only to realize they were utterly alone. Disembodied voices would murmur in the dark, soft and sorrowful, as if the spirits of the slain family were trying to communicate their despair. Those who dared to spend the night reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if they were being watched by unseen eyes. The air in the house grew thick with an oppressive presence, and some claimed to see shadowy figures moving in the corners of their vision, figures that would disappear the moment they turned to look. The most disturbing encounters were with the spirits of the children. Many claimed to have seen their small, translucent forms standing at the foot of the bed, or peeking out from the closet, their faces hidden behind the same sheets that had been draped over their lifeless bodies. Lena Stillinger, who was believed to have woken during the attack and tried to fight off her assailant, was often seen in the guest room, her apparition marked by a sense of desperation and fear. As the years passed, the house remained a site of profound sorrow, its walls holding the echoes of the unspeakable violence that had occurred within. Paranormal investigators flocked to the home, capturing strange noises, flickering lights, and chilling EVP recordings that seemed to carry the voices of the dead. But no matter how many investigations were conducted, the spirits of the Moore family, and their guests, remained bound to the house, unable to find peace. The Villisca Axe Murder House is now a museum, a place where the past and the present intertwine in a dance of terror. Those who enter do so at their own risk, for the house is alive with the memories of that fateful night in 1912. The story of the Moore family is retold by every creak of the floorboards, every gust of cold air, and every ghostly figure that emerges from the shadows. And as the sun sets over Villisca, the house at the end of the street stands as a monument to the darkness that once descended upon it, a darkness that has never truly left. The spirits trapped within are bound by the violent end they met, doomed to relive their final moments in a house that will never let them go.